All right, man, you ready to watch The Fan?
Yep.
Just hit play. Let's do this. It's going to be great. Oh, man, this movie is so crazy. Hey, pay attention. You're missing it. You're going to miss the subtleties of Robert De Niro's performance.
I want a hot dog.
What?
A hot dog, you know.
Hey, Robbie! Great acting! Yeah, Robbie! Oh, popcorn's ready.
Ah! Oh! Oh!
Alright, false alarm. Popcorn wasn't ready.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? You're missing it!
Sorry, man.
Alright, come on! Let's watch some fucking movies! Yeah, I gotta go. I'm sorry, I gotta go to work.
Wait, what?
Hey, Mike, I'm sorry. You forgive me? Hey, I brought your favorite pizza, pepperoni mushroom.
I don't like mushrooms.
You can pick them off.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready for Matt Week?
Matt Week. The Fan.
Are you a fan of The Fan?
Starring Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. With a knife into the ball. It's like that. Der Fan.
Der Fan.
Buddy Shotz, episode 110. Hell yeah.
110, doing it again.
So, you said that there was like no correlation to these episodes, but I think I kind of found one once I watched both of them. Which unless you have a better name for it, I was thinking Warped Reality Week.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or Unhinged Lunatic Week.
Yeah. From the Eye of the Beholder Week. It's like, what?
Do you think Kevin would get along with Robert De Niro, with Gil?
Maybe. Actually, I don't know if anybody would.
Yeah.
He's a crazy piece of shit.
So should we start with Kevin can F himself?
Yeah.
Had you heard of this before? You hear about this? You hear about this?
No, I have not. Or did not.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have not.
The Red Letter Media guys were talking about it, and I thought it sounded interesting, so that's why I picked it.
Ah.
And moving on.
Yeah! So I guess we should go over the premise here, what this is. Yeah, I guess I'll just read the thing here. Set in Worcester, Massachusetts. The show explores the life of Allison McRoberts, a woman struggling to redefine her life amid an unhappy marriage to her husband, Kevin. An insensitive, unambitious man-child. The show presents contrasting perspectives of her experience as a stereotypical sitcom life when Allison is with her husband, Kevin, shown with a multi-camera setup and canned laughter, and a woman navigating a difficult personal path, filmed with a single camera setup more common to television dramas. So yeah, that's the setup of this show week.
Yeah, so it's from 2021, I guess, so it's pretty new.
AMC.
And it's basically, it's King of Queens. If, anytime the King of Queens isn't on screen, it's like a serious drama.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I thought like the setup and like premise of this was like genius. I'd never heard of anything else doing this. But sadly, like in my opinion, I think the parts don't add up to a super interesting product. Like I think that like the sitcom is like not as good as like you mentioned, like something like King of Queens or like even something like Everybody Loves Raymond or something like Seinfeld or anything like that. And the other part that's the drama isn't as good as something that's like a singular character focused like show like Fleabag or something. I love the idea. Like I think it's genius. I think that like what they decided to like follow just it didn't really hold my attention as much as I think it should have because of the I love the idea though. It's so like I can't believe nobody, at least as far as I know, I don't think anybody's ever done this before. Yeah,
it's pretty original, I think. And I won't argue with anything you just said, but to me it was enough to hold my attention. I actually watched the whole first season. It held my attention for sure. And do you want to know what happens?
Yeah, I didn't even watch the first
Spoiler
episode.
alert.
I watched like half of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of...
She tries to have him killed. And like...
Yeah.
You think that he actually gets murdered.
Yeah, but then like you
find out that he murdered the killer that she the hitman that she hired to kill him.
Yeah.
So like, but before that, she tries to poison him to get him to OD on OxyContin.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like going into the underworld trying to get Oxy and stuff, and it gets like really dark.
Mm-hmm.
But the comedy stuff is still really, I won't say really funny, but funny enough.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I'll probably watch the second season at some point.
Cool.
And hopefully they keep making it.
Yeah, I hope they do too. I won't be watching, but for your sake, I hope they do.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say. Since I didn't really even finish the first episode, I guess I didn't specifically hate
For you, Kevin can wait.
Yeah. Actually, Kevin can go F him. No, it wasn't like a hated gamer moment or anything. I wasn't like super pissed about watching this or anything. So
cool.
Which almost, it doesn't make me upset, but it kind of does because it's like the premise is so unique that I was kind of saddened that it was, in my opinion, wasted this way. Not wasted, but kind of like I was kind of hoping for more. But just like this week, it's in the eye of the beholder, and you were a fan. You were the fan, actually.
Since I wasn't the only fan.
No, I think the show probably did well, for sure. I mean, the premise alone is freaking legit. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't, I don't know. Like, we've had this before, like, what's it called? Like, I liked What's It Called enough to keep watching it, the vampire show, and then, like, you liked the Moon show enough, or whatever, to keep watching it, so. But it's not, like, to the point where I'm like, this shit offended me. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. One of the other shows we've watched that we won't really name, that we don't even really have talked about on the show, but we just disliked so much that it was like, okay, this is dog shit.
Yeah.
It did not offend me.
Manimal?
Yeah. Well, no, like Picard or like Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It didn't offend me.
Yikes.
But it had a premise that was super original. I still can't believe no one else has like ever really done that before. Mm-hmm. It's so original. So it gets points for that for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about it? I guess we kind of like talked about it and stuff. Yeah.
I think we gave it as due diligence.
Yeah.
But I'm more excited to get into from 1996.
Yeah. This is like the real shit.
Starring Snipes and De Niro.
Yeah. Or Bobby and Wes. So The Fan is you said it's 1996. American sports psychological thriller film directed by Tony Scott and starring Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes, based on the 1995 novel by Peter Abrams. The film received generally... Okay, I don't need this fucking information. An all-star baseball player becomes the unhealthy focus of a down-on-his-luck salesman. That is the most bare bones way to describe this. But we will definitely talk more about this.
Yeah.
Because this was fucking
it's something
awesome.
So what do you think? Like, you're a fan of Tony Scott, right? We covered Crimson Tide and Last Boy Scout, which I think both of those are way better movies than this.
Yes.
But there's still a lot to this movie that I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff in this movie that will get praised isn't intentionally supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty much goofing on it all week, like texting each other. But like,
it's this so
movie,
good.
There's more to it. It's not just to be laughed at. Like, it's outrageous, but there's something to it, I think.
This is outrageous.
It is.
So we start off, and Bobby De Niro narrates a baseball poem to old school footage.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, more movies need to have an epic poem at the beginning written just for the movie.
Yeah. God, this poem is so fucking long, dude.
I thought you might write it down.
Yeah, I wrote the whole thing down.
It goes on for like 3 minutes.
Should I even do this?
I don't. No? It's too long.
Yeah.
I would just say this movie needs to be seen by everyone.
Yeah.
It needs to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, I agree. This is like Cruel Jaws, as far as like seen to be believed. Mm-hmm. So we've got Jack Black. He appears in like one scene.
Dude, I totally missed him, and then I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, wait a minute, Jack Black was in this?
Yeah,
and
he shows up in the very beginning when, what's-his-face calls, Robert De Niro calls the hotline. He calls like every day because he's obsessed with baseball.
Yeah.
And he's literally just there to like hook up stuff.
So that sports talk, like, it made no sense at all, dude, because sports talk shows don't cold call athletes.
Yeah.
And then get pissed when they don't answer.
Well, apparently later on in the film, you can just call the barracks or whatever the shit.
Everything about this movie is like heightened.
Before we like watched this film, you were like, this film, like, Tony Scott doesn't know anything about sports, apparently, because
it's very clear.
This makes no sense.
And I don't think he cares, because he just wanted to make a crazy movie.
You'll probably bring up a lot of stuff that I didn't really see, but do you see Brell from No Holds Barred is in this? He's like the side person to the main lady. He like gets shut down.
Oh, I know that guy from Scary Movie. Remember, he's the dad?
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you think of these pictures? And it's him.
Yeah.
Like nude.
But it's like, yeah, he's in a bunch of movies, but he's like...
Yeah, I forgot he was in No Holds Barred.
He's the main bad guy.
That's right.
But he didn't make the guy shit his pants. So, we got Blade and Luigi driving in a Hummer. What'd you think about... I was like, dude, fuck yes. John Leguizamo's in this film.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Luigi himself.
Yeah, I love John Leguizamo. I used to, I think when I was younger, not like him. But then as I got older, I was like...
And the only reason you didn't like him is because he didn't grow a mustache for Super Mario Brothers. You held that against him.
What a fucking loser I was. Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm on to other Super Mario Brothers hate with Chris Pratt. So yeah, like I love him in this. I love anything he's in. I'm like, dude, this is great.
I love Ellen Barkin's character too, like the reporter. Mm-hmm. I think probably for the time there weren't that many women in a position like that, but like now there are.
She's being a bitch.
Like it was kind of progressive. And I've heard of Alan Arkin, but Ellen Barkin?
Bargain bin. Wesley Lovefest from Robert.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like, what? First of all, she's like, calls up Wesley Snipes and then proceeds to shit on him. She's like, this is, can you believe that they gave you all this money to come play? This is ridiculous. And I'm like, what a fucking asshole. This fucking douchebag calls this dude, and he answers, and the first thing that happens is she slams him. Not like, thanks for your time, but like, fuck you.
Yeah, there's nothing realistic about that scene at all, but it was funny.
But he's essentially like defending himself, and like Robert De Niro's like, hey, shut the hell up, why are you such a pessimist, you bitch, like all this stuff, and he's the best, like, we love you, Bobby, you're the best, you deserve that money, and so it's shown clear.
And also he remembered that random caller for like months later. It's like, hey, Gil, you gave me that good advice.
Yeah, he's like, is that Gil I hear? I'm like, what?
So I think it's fair to say Wesley Snipes is awesome in this because he's awesome in everything.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wanted to know what you thought about Robert De Niro in this movie.
What kind of question is that? Robert De Niro's great in everything. He's fucking awesome in this.
This is the part of his career where he started going like super over the top.
This is a super like horrifying bad guy.
He's great at playing psychos though.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
true.
It is comical, and at times I don't know if it was intended to be, but it's also super hilarious.
It hinges on like ridiculous Joker.
Yes,
but like it's like he backs it up at some points, and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah, I totally buy him as like the psycho. He's like the best at playing a psycho.
He just kind of comes off at first like just like some meek guy that's getting pushed over, and then like you find out actually he's capable of all this shit the whole time. And he probably has done it in the past. Because at one point his boss is like, people are scared of you, which means obviously in the past this has happened where people are like, So Wesley gets the wrong jersey by Don S. Davis, General George Hammond from Stargate SG-1. I was like, holy shit, he's got a movie role.
There you
go. But he's never seen again. Yeah, but like this is a big thing of contention. Like he wants the number 11, I think, right? And like the other dude on the team, the code breaker himself, already has it.
Master code breaker.
And he has to be given 33.
Which that conflict does happen sometimes in sports when people get traded.
So my next note is concerning a clip you sent me halfway through the week. Dude stabs a door with a knife a bunch and screams like a fucking like lunatic.
So hilarious.
Yeah. He's like, he's like, ah!
It's a dude, like, he's the boss at a board meeting, at, like, a staff meeting. Yeah. I'm like, dude.
And he's stabbing, like, a door that he got off of a car. And I was like, what does this have to do with
like,
selling knives?
On the table, like, just scares everyone. Like, dude, it's like Street Fighter 2
what does this have
Turbo?
to do with selling knives? He's, like, fucking stabbing this knife into the door and, like, going nuts. And the sellers are just like...
That's when you know, like, everything in this movie is going to be over the top.
Yeah, I was like, that's when I was like, dude, this is...
But I was like, this boss salesman had the worst boardroom breakdown since Papa John.
Yes. He's like, I ate 30,000 pizzas this week. And I'm like, what?
I've been sampling so many pizzas.
They're horrible. I'm like, yeah, it's Papa John's. What'd you expect? It's like Domino's.
If you ate 30 pizzas in a week, you'd be dead, dude.
Yeah. He's like that one movie, like Super Size Me or whatever, where he's like huh?
It's on death's door.
So, Manny, John Leguizamo says, well, if it isn't Jewel, my favorite token female sports reporter. Blow me, Manny. Yeah, I would, but you haven't had all your shots, babe. You're saying there's absolutely no way you could get your boy to talk to me? Is that what you're saying? I'm saying he'd rather nail his penis to a fucking burning building. I'm like, good Lord.
Out of control.
Yeah.
So, Gil is a knife salesman, right?
Yeah, he goes from door to door, or not door to door. He goes from, like, I guess, client to client,
And he demonstrates, like, how sharp the knives are by shaving hair off his arm.
That's my
and I'm
next
like,
note.
Dude, he shaves off more hair than Sasquatch.
And then it's like, it's back, like, the next scene. Yeah.
But he's shaving off the hair, and you look on the table, and there's, like, a mountain of hair. I'm like, dude, that is disgusting.
Why wouldn't you just...
Yeah.
But he's like, any more of these demos, and I'm going to have to start shaving the hair on my ass. I was like... I'm pretty sure that's why you're not getting these knives sold. You're, like, putting nasty arm hair on people's fucking, like...
Like, so much.
Yeah, on their fucking desk. That'd be like if you were like, Mike, let me demonstrate this stuff for you, and started shaving your arm hair, like, on the table, and then you were like, okay, eat up. I'd be like, Knife doing business with you. I was like, okay.
Knife to see.
Yeah. Pervert watching a lady's cleavage. He goes to sell, and some dude's like... He's like the manager of like a department store, and he's like watching some lady, and he's got the camera zoomed in on her. He's like, oh. It's like so over the top.
Roger Moore did that in, I think, multiple James Bond movies with the spy camera. He like zoomed into boobs or something.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure if people had their, I was gonna say had their way, but had their like thing, they'd probably do that. Kid dying has Wesley's son's name, Sean.
Yep.
Also, like, you find out like late this kid dies the next fucking day. Like, huh? It's like, he's like, hit a home run for me. He's like,
not only the next day, but like in the third inning.
Before he even hit the home run. Like, come the fuck on, dude. Like,
also, how did they know which inning he died in?
Yeah.
Why would that...
They were like, the dad was like timing it, like, John Leguizamo.
Bottom of the third.
My son is
Boom.
fucking cannon fodder. It's like, what?
But that made me want to ask you a question, because like the sick kid asks him to hit a home run for him, basically. Yeah. And if you were dying in the hospital, would you ask Evan McPherson to kick a field goal for you?
No, because he would do it anyway. Because he's so good.
Your favorite player.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love him. Yeah, he's just consistent. Anyway, so did you see? There's kind of like an orange look to this movie. It's very.
Oh yeah. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like the lighting is very dramatic. The sunlight, it's always like golden lighting.
Yeah. It makes it feel like it's always in like the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's over the top dramatic. Like the hospital room is like the darkest hospital room ever, with like these shafts of like light coming in. And
reminded me a lot of Dark Blue, because Dark Blue had like obviously like a blue tint to it the whole time, and it felt very like a certain way. And this has like not the same way, but it has that same feeling of like just that I can't describe it, but
it
like
has a great look to
LA. Yeah, and it's also movies just aren't like color graded like this anymore, really. Yeah, because that's all post processing, like which is totally fine. It was just kind of like it was interesting and cool to see that again.
I totally agree. I'm glad you called it out because like I had a note that says the lighting in this movie, dramatic beams of light and shadows, exciting filmmaking, gold and crimson sunsets. Like, dude, it's beautiful.
Fuck the poem at the beginning. That was magic.
But like this movie could have just been a throwaway like dumb thriller. Right. But like Tony Scott is such a good filmmaker, like it's elevated for sure.
Correct. Correct. I mean, I agree. Correct. I'm like, listen. I agree, correct. De Niro won't take another time for a meeting due to opening day. So, like, he's got this huge sale. His boss is essentially like, dude, you need to, like, start making sales or, like, I'm going to have to, like, fire your ass. And, like, he's got, like, a planner he pulls out and he, like, missed the guy for the day. And in his planner, he's got one day that's just circled over and over again. It says opening day in capital letters.
Like a little kid.
Yeah, and so, like... it's one of those deals where, like, he could have actually done the right thing and actually, like, got the, you know, what's it called? The whole thing with his, like, got it worked out with his boss and kept his job. But, like, instead, he's so obsessed with, like, baseball because he is the fan that he essentially, he screws over himself. But then, like, even when going to the game, he screws over his son and himself. It's like he fucks everything up because he's a loser.
And that's the part of this movie that hits a little bit close to home for me. It's like, as someone who cares probably too much about their team, like, I understand where he's going from.
That time you crushed my legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that time you just left me. I was like, Matt, where are you? You know, you're supposed to come over to my house and put it out. It's on fire. And you're like, sorry, I'm watching the game.
Yeah, but I totally get the stress of, like, trying to follow, like, a tournament game while I'm at work and, like, trying, like...
I understand being a fan, not being an obsessive like person to the point where you're gonna like ruin your life. Yeah. Like, I'm like DraftKings anyone?
I'm like too late for me.
Yeah, your life is ruined. No.
But so many times I've been sitting in like meetings or something at work. I'm like, how am I supposed to care about this when like the Bengals are in the Super Bowl?
That's just in general. That's like anybody. Like if a movie's coming out or if somebody's like, you know, a game's about something like that. How are you supposed to? It's one thing to be like that, but like, or to just be like, well, I was gonna say call off, but I guess I did that before back in the day. So I would call off to play a video game. I'm sick. Look at me now. I'm hosting a podcast.
Yeah.
So De Niro's singing song, and his son is like, what the fuck is this? He was like singing this super old song, and he's like, this song was like, I remember when this song was made back in the day, and I was like, dude, this kid is from like a totally different generation. You're like
he doesn't care about the Stones right now.
Well, like this kid is like, it's like he's acting in our generation. It's like, what is this guy talking about? So he like shits in his son's glove. Or no, he shits on it. Like he's like, what is this crap? That would have been even more out of control if he shits in his glove.
Did you watch the director's
cut? Yeah, he was like, yeah. No, so like they're driving, and this is the kind of guy he is. It's like, he's happy, he's like obsessed. He's like, oh yeah, my son's into baseball. This is great and everything. But like, he looks at the glove his son has, and he's just like, piece of shit. It's like, dude, he like shits on his son just because he has like a certain glove, or like his like, I guess his like stepdad got it for him. It's like
he expects everyone else to like care as much about
his,
and like know as much about the game as he does.
Right. Which is like, it's a fucking child's glove. Like, what are you talking about? I thought this. Well, I would say I thought this is kind of weird, but it's kind of par for the course. But the lady like sees a soda can in front of her and takes a drink out of it. She's like, "Whose is this?" And like John Leguizamo is like, "It's mine. I spit in it." And I was like, "How would you spit in your own drink?" Like on purpose. I guess he was like, wait, he was like setting it up as a trap,
like self prank.
He's like, "Gotcha, me."
What did you think of Gil's conversion van?
Oh, like his like the van that's like his like what's it called, like a total fan kind of deal. Mm-hmm. That's one of the only things in the movie I actually kind of thought was cool and had respect for, because it was like, for as far as him, it's like that's probably as far as I would go if I was a fan, as maybe being like kind of like theming my, if I had like something like that, I wouldn't take like a brand new car and be like Ferrari fucking, you know, something on it, but you know what I mean. Like, I get it, but then later you kind of, as the movie goes on, you find out that's just the tip of the iceberg for this guy. He's he takes it to an unhealthy obsession. But I thought it was cool.
Yeah, my grandparents used to have a van exactly like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Like the backseat would turn into a bed and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't really see those that much anymore.
Yeah. Knife condiment spreading. I thought that was interesting. I thought this was definitely a blast from the past. Aaron Neville singing Home of the Brave here.
Yeah, dude.
Aaron Neville was like pretty big there for a bit. I didn't even have to look it up because as soon as I heard him, I was like, this is fucking Aaron Neville, dude.
You can tell.
That is Aaron Neville, dude. So Primo and Rayburn collide, and Wesley catches it. So, like...
Center fielder always makes the call.
They're like, boom. And, like, it really jacks up, like, Wesley Snipes, like, ribs or whatever.
This is my favorite scene in the movie, the opening day scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's... it's the craziest.
Yeah.
It was a movie full of crazy scenes. Basically, Robert De Niro, like, being so obnoxious and, like, bothering everyone around him.
Yeah. He's the kind of person you don't want to sit next to. Not even at a sports game, but, like, at a theater, just in general. You don't want to be near this asshole. Like, he's such a jerk.
And I hate to admit, but I've been that guy, too. Like, this movie hits close to home. Like, I've yelled at players and coaches and stuff and been totally obnoxious. Like, what horrible behavior.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I can't really defend
I
that,
apologize.
Dude, he was getting into it with old people and young people.
Everyone around him was like giving him the stink eye and stuff. It's just he's totally oblivious.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to kind of be like an asshole, like be a fan like that or get drunk or whatever, and even if you're sober to kind of act like that. Mm-hmm. It's another thing, like he brought his kid there and he's essentially like abusing his son because there's parts where like he's saying things to his son and like people were looking at him like, what the fuck? And that's kind of what starts it more so than like the whole like, you know, his antics.
Yeah.
It's like he brought his kid there, but he only brought his kid there really to like, I guess to have somebody to look up to him and be like, dude, you're the greatest. But his son is just like, he's on the edge of like looking up to his dad and being like, I don't want to have anything to do with this guy.
Yeah. And that's why I think there's something more to this movie than just like the surface level like craziness. Like that kid is like heartbreaking in that scene.
Yeah.
Because he's like looking up to his dad.
Yeah.
Who's acting like a buffoon.
He's a piece of shit.
And he even starts like emulating him. And I'm like, dude, this is like real life.
Yeah.
This is how kids grow up to be a-holes.
Yeah.
Because their parents show them how to be horrible.
To be people. Or to be people.
Like that was like heartbreaking.
And the other side of that was this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen because he like crushes his fucking son's legs going for a fly ball.
Which sadly that does happen in real life too. Like people have posted videos where like a grown dude
for
over
sure.
a kid and stuff. Is like these guys are the worst, man. But it's so funny.
Well, the funniest thing also about this is like he doesn't get the ball or whatever. Another kid gets it, which is essentially like who it should be going to.
But then he makes an excuse. He's like the wind guy.
Yeah. And so then Snipe loses his lucky 11 medallion. And this is either the first or like 1,000th time of De Niro saying, let's play some fucking ball! Let's play some fucking baseball!
Like they are, dude.
Yeah.
Like this is
well, to him, baseball, when you're not hitting or pitching or catching isn't the part of the game, Matt.
Yeah.
He thinks that when they have to call a call or they're like doing a timeout or something, that's not baseball.
And I think it's during a different game, but I laughed so hard when he was like yelling at the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, let Bobby bat! And I was like, it's not his turn, dude.
Yeah.
He's not up.
Let's change the order right now.
And I think they put some of the same clips in like over and over again of him like saying, let's play some ball!
So Gil in front of his son yells at the umpire when he calls a strike on Bobby. Umpire says strike. Gil yells, are you out of your fucking mind, ump? Are you out of your mind? De Niro leaves as Wesley. Yeah, so like he was just going nuts. He's like
so funny.
Yeah.
He just abandoned his kid at the game.
Yeah,
wow.
De Niro leaves as Wesley hits a home run, and it's like, I don't know if you noticed this, but the best luck that Wesley Snipes has in this film is when De Niro isn't at the game. It's like him not being his biggest fan, not being around him is the best thing for him.
That's interesting.
It seems like, let's see here. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a case in this movie. So leaves his son at the ball game alone. And he left early to go to the ball game, like the guy he went to go see that he's going to sell to. He's like, oh, planes. She's like, the planes changed. Like, he went to the ball game. And he's like, never heard from again. So I thought that was kind of also like ironic. He like does all this stuff to try to catch up to this meeting. When he should have just gone to the meeting in the first place. But then when he finally did, it's like, oh, he actually went to the game. And De Niro's there. It's like, okay.
It was never going to work out for Gil.
Yeah. De Niro gets back and is like, where's my son? Like, he, essentially can't find him. And it's like the old lady essentially, like, took him home and called him. Because I'm sure the kid was, like, crying. And like, he was crying and shit. It's like, dude. So De Niro's a wild man unleashed after like leaving his son. He brings the pizza in. He's like, I got your favorite pizza, pepperoni and mushrooms, and he's like, he doesn't like them, and he's like, you can pick it off. Like, dad of the year.
Yeah, he's shown some disturbing behavior, but this is the first time he becomes violent. Like, he barges into the house and like pushes the ex-wife down and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like I think to me it's very obvious that this is like his like MO. He's violent all the time, and this happens all the time because we're just seeing the lead up to the violence for this character. It didn't start off this way, but I think that like this is the beginning of the cycle, and we caught him after he had a violent cycle before, because there were so many times when like, obviously like the mom's like, I'm getting a restraining order, which means he's done this many times. The boss is like, people are scared of you because of the way you act, which means he just had like violent outbursts, you know what I mean? Like, other people have seen him do stuff like this. The patrons at the baseball game are yelling at him, and it's like everybody around him probably knows he's a piece of shit. Like, he has major anger issues, and it's out of control. So Gil gets fucking fired, and he kind of takes it like better than I thought he would. Like, he doesn't flip out there at the...
Yeah, I think he knew he was screwed when he missed that last meeting.
But he seems to like push everything off on other people, so I was kind of surprised he didn't flip out at him and somehow like make an excuse or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, so Gil's father started this business, and it reminded me of like from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where Willem Dafoe is just like, I started this company. You can't do this to me. Like, he like flips out. And then they were like, well, actually, like, he didn't start the company. Like, it's like another thing, like you were saying earlier, where like I think that he has like an inflated sense of like his surroundings. Like, he thinks that everything...
He was a Nepo baby.
Right. Everything around him, he thinks is to serve him. And like, he doesn't... Like, just from that one line, it's very obvious that it's like, he thinks his dad started the company, when in reality his dad was like a part of the company and helped the company, but it's not like he was like Walt Disney at like Walt Disney Company. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. So did you think this? So the guy that like serves De Niro, he comes to give him a restraining order. He looks like he had like some fucking virus or something. He was very sweaty and like he looked sick. I was like, I don't know why that stuck out to me, but I was like, damn.
Maybe he was.
This was another scene I was cracking up at. It's not supposed to be funny, but it was because of De Niro's like performance in this. So he takes a bat, like they're having batting like tryouts, and he grabs a bat and he's like, "This, he's like, look at this, the bat's too heavy," and then like they try to stop him and he's like, "Don't fuck with me, I'll send your head into the outfield," and the mom is like, "You know what, you're not doing this anymore, fuck you," and she like takes the bat from him, and he tries to take it back and fucking fails like miserably. He's like, and then he's like. Once he fails trying to grab the base, I'm trying to tell my son something. And this is when, like, you don't see his son for the rest of the movie, because it's like, this is it. It's like, because his son's crying and all this stuff, and it's like, he's done. Like,
yeah.
I think even if what had happened at the end of the movie hadn't happened, I think he would have never seen his son again, at least for a long time. Like,
that was a hilarious scene. I was cracking up, but then at the same time, the son is like, "You better go."
Yeah, it's
dude, this
like,
is heartbreaking.
Yeah. If De Niro hadn't acted the way he did, I probably would have been like, this is a completely serious, sad scene. But like the way he's like, Like, he got caught, and everybody saw him. It's like, what? So then De Niro kills a gummy roach on the wall as a Hasidim Jewish man with his badass beard and curls walks by holding a chihuahua. I thought that was funny because...
Those were some thin walls, too. It was like drywall.
Yeah. Randomly, I found out, like, this is one of the trivia things that I kind of, like, looked later. And it was, like, apparently... the order of Judaism that guy's like a part of, like, they can't own pets. So I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
They got called out.
Yeah, that's the one thing in this movie that's out of control.
One mistake.
Yeah. I came across that one on accident because I was trying to find out what kind of, because I was like, I've seen like a Jewish person like with like the hair and like all that kind of stuff before, and I wasn't exactly sure what to put it in here, and that's when I found that, and I was like, what? Okay. Might as well put it in here for fun. So then we come to another. I mean, I would say another ridiculous part, but this whole movie's ridiculous. But he calls the Giants' locker room and somehow gets connected instantly to like Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
Bobby.
I don't think so.
That would be like if you or me called the Bengals and was like, "Hey, can I talk to Joe Burrow?" And they're like, "Yeah, no problem, Joe. You got a call here. Somebody you know." Because then he just says, "Yeah, I'm his old fan or whatever." Or I'm his old friend or whatever, and he was like, okay, let me get a hold of him. I was like, what? I thought there's also another funny ADR here where somebody says a random, fuck you, Rayburn.
I think I did notice that one.
I was like, dude. So this is when you kind of find out that he's been like looking and like watching his family. Like De Niro's... Mm-hmm. At
stalker.
Yeah, he's stalking Rayburn and his like family who has like a beach house and stuff, and you're like, but it's like just like the rest of this movie, this is probably not the first time. It's definitely I'm assuming not the first time he's ever done this. De Niro in strip club goes into the bathroom, and then like Primo and Wesley Snipes, like, they have an altercation. Here's another great ADR where, like, not in the accent, Benicio del Toro goes, go fuck yourself. Like, it's totally not. It's like ADR not accent. I was like, wait, who did that?
I caught him between takes.
Yeah.
I like Benicio del Toro in this movie. I remembered his part being bigger, but I guess he just makes a big impression.
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like he maybe should have one, but I think because his character like looms over the nature of Wesley Snipes' character having a downtime, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like certain characters. A lot of people are like, oh, that character was in the movie a lot, right? It's like Beetlejuice. He's only in the movie for apparently for like a couple minutes, but like everybody's like, dude, he's in the movie for a long time, but he has such a huge role or a huge impact. Mm-hmm. Gil is obsessed and depraved.
That's true.
Benicio del Toro doing his best Razor Ramon impression in this movie. He's like, "Ayo, chico, kakaroch."
Better than whatever he was doing in Star Wars.
His best fake out. So he's got an 11 scar. I thought that was kind of, or like a stamp or like a branding.
Yeah.
He's like, I was branding my friend. What'd you think about that? I thought that was pretty fucked up when you like they unveil it. I was like, damn, dude, this guy's hardcore about number 11.
It was cool.
Yeah. That like, because like De Niro goes to confront him and he's like, you need to like just switch, numbers. It's no big deal. And then he like, you see it and he's like, holy shit, this guy's actually probably more about the number than Wesley Snipes is. But then it like, De Niro like murders him, which I was not expecting to happen at all. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, you weren't expecting the blood to fly.
Well, not only that, but he like stabs him in the leg and that's how he dies. I guess he like bleeds out hardcore instantly. Like all the blood in his body came out of his leg in 5 seconds.
You're like,
I was like, oh wow, makes sense. Weird red effects. He bleeds to death from leg. And then like, because it's like Robert De Niro does this because he's like, oh, now he can wear the number 11, but like when he gets to the stadium, they're like, now we all get to wear the number because they put it on like the shoulder as like a tribute, and it was like Robert De Niro was like misguided as hell trying to help him out.
Yeah,
And it didn't even end up like helping him because Wesley Snipes like didn't even get the number, and it didn't even really factor into it. It was like just he's like.
Did you notice how he wore his old jersey under his new jersey?
Yeah,
I never noticed that before.
But he was like, I stopped giving a shit, and then I actually was fine. It was like the pressure was getting to him to actually be really good, and once he started just playing like he did before and was like, whatever, that's when it was fine. And it's like, he was like,
stay loose?
What the fuck, it was all about me. This is another time when I was like, holy shit. Like you were talking about with like, when he's like yelling stuff, like they're showing like the Primo highlight, and he's like, "Who gives a fuck?" And I was like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
That was great. That's like if we're watching the Oscars and they're showing all the people who passed away. I'm like, boo!
I'm like, let's watch some fucking movies.
Yeah, let's get them off the screen.
It's like, huh? Bobby Rayburn on the television answers a reporter's question about why he's now suddenly hitting. Bobby Rayburn to the reporter, "I wish I knew." Gil. "That's it? You wish you knew? A simple thank you would have been nice." What? That makes no fucking... Like, how would he even know? That makes no fucking sense. That's why I was like... I was like, oh. Yeah, I was kind of like, oh. Dog and son in water. What the fuck happened? Like, he just randomly starts drowning. Even though he has, like, something to hold on to.
Dude, that almost happened to me when I was a little kid. Because, like, dogs can be very dangerous in the water because they don't know that
he was like
he had a shank.
Yeah, he's like...
They're just trying to play, and they'll, like, scratch the hell out of you or, like, murder you.
Yeah. You're like, I've been killed. You're like, that happened to me. I'm a ghost. First, I didn't understand what was going on because I thought I saw a burst of blood, and I was like, did a fucking shark attack them? Like, what the fuck happened? Because like, when they get back, like, the dog's like, ee. So I was like, okay, so the dog didn't do it. What happened? So I rewound again, and it wasn't a burst of blood. It was like his wetsuit is red.
Mm.
And like, when I kept watching, and I was like, what the fuck even happened here? It's like, I think they were trying to make that, like you said, the dog, like, maybe make him stop holding on to the thing that he was holding on to. But like, it just came off like something happened randomly. But Gil's a pretty great actor. It's almost like it's Robert De Niro. Because he was like, oh, I'm just here to, like, I'm just a fan, or not a fan. He's like, I was just jogging and I saw, your son fucking drowning. So, like, talking about earlier, where he says, like, what do you think made you, like, get out of this? And he's like, Curly, I just stopped caring. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just stopped caring. You stopped caring? What do you mean? Hey, man, all my life I've been working to be the best, trying to be perfectionist. And I thought about it, and that probably is where I made my mistake. And the music gets, like, sentimental, then it gets, like, dark and twisted. And he's like, man, I mean, come on, like, let's be real here. What do you know? Like, what are we doing? We're not curing cancer, We're just playing a game. That's all it is. It's just a game. So I stopped caring and relaxed, and I started hitting. And that's when he's just like, I have a real problem with that attitude, fucking, and then this is when it's like, holy shit. He takes off what he's, like, wearing, and he's wearing the Rayburn's uniform. It's like, like...
And I'm so glad this movie exists just because we get to see Robert De Niro wearing hammer pants.
Yeah!
I never thought I'd see.
Well, it was just so funny because when he, like, takes off, he's wearing the top, the jersey, and the hat and everything, and he's like... Oh, it looks good on you, man. You should. He's like, what about your stuff? He's like, oh, you should keep it. Because it's like, at this point, he knows this
he
guy
realizes
is,
he's just like
this is like
he's the taxi driver himself.
Yeah, this is a point in, like, a Lifetime movie when you're like, the neighbor is a killer. It's like, okay. So, like, Bobby shakes Gil's hand after the little game of baseball, and then he doesn't let go, and he's like, come on, admit it. We're alone. And he's like, admit what? He's like, admit you're hitting because Primo's not around. And he's like, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's like, it doesn't hurt that he's not around. Come on, level with me. Like, he's essentially wanting to be like, yeah, the reason why I'm doing good is because, Primo, like, died. And he's like, come on, I saved your kid. You want to pay me back? Be honest with me and tell me you're happy that he's dead. Just a little. It's like, good God.
Good stuff.
De Niro steals Snipes' car, kid, and dog. Yeah, so essentially, like, he goes back in, and he's just like, dude, we need to, like, call the cops. And then he, like, looks around, and he's like, where's my son? And then he's like, goes in the garage, and the car, his dog, and his kid are gone. And it's like, Gil, has like taken them all. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna like go to a night game or something. I was like, or no, night fishing. That's what it was.
Gotta go see Coop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we actually hadn't even really talked about this whole time, but he mentions this guy, Coop, like, throughout the movie the whole time. Like, he's the greatest to ever play, the greatest I've ever known, and, you know, you hear, he's like, yeah, I used to play, but, like, fucking something happened, and, like, I don't know, he got, like, an injury, and he hasn't been able to play since, or, like, that kind of thing. And, like, the reveal at the end is like, what the fuck? Like, okay.
Yeah.
But,
like, made it seem like they were both baseball heroes that, like,
right,
could have been in the big leagues.
Right. So, this is another part that wasn't, it's not funny, but it is because of Robert De Niro's, like, performance in this. And he's, like, on the phone with, like, Bobby, and he's like, don't you talk to me. You show me some respect. Without people like me, you're nothing. We're the ones that get you your 40 fucking million. He's like, what do you want? What do I want? I want every time to think of you, they're going to think of me. It's like, because he wants them to put, like, a photo up of him. Like, this home run is to my greatest fan or whatever. And they take all these pictures, and, like, one of them, like, a bunch of them are, like, them with knives in their mouth and doing horrible shit. But the one that he sends them is just one where he's like, like, what? Like, all these other photos were, like, way better. Like, the photo he sent was like, okay. I was cracking up the thought of them putting a photo on the Jumbotron to the whole audience after he hit a home run of De Niro. Not even his mouth feeling. Would have been like, dude.
Yeah, this is really going to happen.
Yeah. So, Gil says, remember that kid in chemo whose life was unfair to him? Well, that's the way I've been feeling. My life has been unfair to me. The only difference is I'll be able to see you hit that home run at the game tomorrow. And I got a photo here, and I'm going to get it to you, and I want you to put it on the Jumbotron. And he's like, okay. And what I want you to do, Bobby, is I want you to stand up and tell the 50 million viewers that home run is dedicated to Gil, a true fan. What do you think? I can't believe you're serious. I'm as serious as a heart attack, Babby. That's pretty serious, isn't it? You know what? You know there comes a time in everyone's life, Bobby, when you have to stand up for something. Otherwise, you're just passing on through. So, Bobby, I'm watching you. And if that pitcher goes easy on you, I'm going to kill your fucking kid. Surprise, Bobby. Or surprise, surprise. Hey, Bobby. He's like, I'm still here. Now do you care? I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome. I love that,
dude. Yeah, when he says, now do you care?
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Like, but like that picture I sent to you when he like randomly looks at the camera and he's like,
it was horrifying, dude. He turns into a real monster.
So they finally meet up with Coop and well, they've already met up with him and stuff. And like, he's like, lets the kid, he like tries to help the kid escape. And he's like, I thought you were a real friend. We could have gone all the way. And he like beats his ass to death. And he's like, we were in Little League. We were 12 years old. Like, so you find out that like, he's still thinking about shit like when he was 12. Like, this is, I could have been a real contender. It's like, But like, yeah, when he just gets his ass beat to death, I was like, he's killed, and he could kill again. I'm kind of glad they did something like that in this film to show that he means business and he will actually kill, because that just like ratchets up the factor of like, okay, so there is a chance that he could kill this person or kill this kid or kill someone else. It's like, oh yeah. So when you said earlier when he calls and they're like, is that our buddy Gil? And he's like, that bastard Sal. He's like, maybe. Like the way he like says it, he's like, maybe. I was like, what? Also, like you said, how would they know, like, the radio station?
Yeah.
So dude catches the home run. I'm like, son's gonna die. So it's like no one else is in on this, because it's like, if I find out that like someone's in on this or like they're trying to help you get a home run, you know, I'll kill your son. But it's like, so then there's like rain, and I was like, will there be a jig?
Yeah. So I want to talk about this rain, because like, since it's a Tony Scott movie, it's the hardest monsoon downpour in
It's totally fake. Yeah,
it's like so over the top, and like they would call the game instantly if it started raining this hard.
Exactly, because it's harder than like any rain's ever been, unless it's like the fucking flood or something.
And not only that, it's rained so much that the players are like splashing through like 6 inches of water as they're running the bases.
Yeah.
Like no game has ever, this has never happened, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So who cares?
Yeah, it's so fake. Rain? Well, let's see. So Bobby hits his home run, or your son is beef. They're going to call this fucking game. The guy's like flipping out. It's funny because they call the game, but then they like let it go again, and then it rains again. Like there wouldn't be enough time to drain the fucking outfield. It's like,
Yeah. Like you were referencing Last Boy Scout, but like if there's a sporting event in a Tony Scott movie, like it's gonna be the craziest shit.
Yeah.
I wish you would have done a basketball movie.
Dude, it rains inside.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, the outfield is like a shallow sea. That's one of my... There's like fucking Precambrian dudes swimming out there. The amount of rain, this game would be done. Okay, enough of the shots of memories of his son. De Niro... So this is when like he's like... He makes it home and he's like, you're out. And everybody's like, what the fuck? Like even like, you know, the other team is like, huh? And then he's like... You find out De Niro's the ump. He's like, wait a minute, this guy's the you know, this is the guy.
He pulled a Frank Drebin.
Yeah. He's like, he's like, and then I started cracking up because he has a knife and he starts stabbing random dudes. I was like, oh my god. He's like, I never showed you my best pitch, and he like has the knife. And then he gets fucking, like, expendable.
Yeah, he basically commits suicide by cop.
Right.
And it's awesome, but it's also like, dude, this movie is just sad. Like, it's profoundly sad by the end. Because then after that, the very end, they show, like, photos of him as a little kid, like, being a baseball hero. And it's like,
yeah, they're like,
local, think about what happened.
Local kid, like, you know, Gil fucking saves the town, or not the town, the game, or whatever for the town. And he I guess he like lived in the stadium, the old stadium, because he has this like little
den.
Yeah, like no one goes to.
Nest.
I'm like, what? But yeah, like. So I have some last lines. The last lines in the movies that made me laugh. Reporter says, "What you are seeing here is a sad turn of events indeed. Gil Renard, an unemployed knife salesman, was shot to his death." What? Shot to his death.
Who talked like that in Alien?
Yeah, that's why I was laughing. I was like,
I didn't notice.
Yeah, by the police during tonight's game. Here's how it happened. I was like, what? Like, why? Here's how it happened. It's like, okay. Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious the way they said that. I was like,
yeah. A couple other things I wanted to bring up was Hans Zimmer did the score to this movie, which is wonderful, and like it elevates the movie.
Wonderful.
But did you know that Hans Zimmer wrote that Burger King Whopper jingle?
Whopper.
Whopper. I'm like, dude, nice. You nailed it.
That shit's everywhere. It's kind of getting annoying now, but...
There was a scene where I sent you a video of it where, like, he goes into an office and in the background there's two people just shaking hands.
Yeah, it's like...
For, like,
we're
way
like,
too long. I'm like...
But, like, they're too far away. It's like they're extending their arms or something. It makes no sense.
Whoever directed those actors failed.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
You found that and I was cracking up. I was like, what the fuck is this?
The soundtrack is also cool. Like, they use that Massive Attack song, Big Wheel, I think it's called, or something like that, which is great.
Yeah.
I do like how Gil talks about how baseball is great because you learn the meaning of a sacrifice. Like, you give yourself up to advance your teammate, and it's fair because it doesn't even hurt your average. Like, this movie is deep.
Yeah. Which kind of gets...
I just think...
It kind of, like, makes no sense because, like, the rest of the, like, sports stuff is totally off point.
I think this movie could have been, like, a disastrous performance by De Niro. Like, he's embarrassed himself later in his career, I think. But, like, he's so good in this movie, he can walk the line between, like, over-the-top hilarious, but still awesome. Like, it's... Not many people could have pulled this off, I think, like he did.
I think that, like, they could have gotten somebody to just play this straight, and it would have, like, definitely been more dramatic and actually made... Like, the scenes we're talking about where it's supposed to be sad, it would have been funny, but it wouldn't have been as memorable. This movie probably would have just been, like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. And then I also thought this could be a sequel to Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver 2. Like, after he grew up and had a kid.
He became a fan.
He became the fan.
Yeah.
As part of the TDCU.
Tiny Dick. Cinematic Universe.
And that's all I got.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you liked it. I wasn't sure what you think, to be honest.
One of the only criticisms I have is the ending was kind of a worse version from The Last Boy Scout, in my opinion. With, like, the raining and stuff. I was like, oh my god, dude.
You'll never top Last Boy Scout.
Yeah. Yeah, what would you rate it?
I'll go 7.95.
Nice.
Like, I'm not going to defend this movie as a masterpiece, but it is crazy and highly entertaining and awesome.
Well, guess what? I was going to give this movie a 7.95, but if you take into account how much fun we had this week, it's like a 9.95.
Yeah,
it's a must-see. Like,
yeah.
The movie itself isn't super great, but like, it's like a 7.95. But like, if you have people to watch this with and like to talk about it with, it's totally worth watching because we were like
it's insane,
ragging on it. Not really ragging on it, but like seeing shit that was ridiculous. And it's like, to me, that was totally worth it. Like, 'cause I was like, dude, what the hell's going on here? What the hell's going on here? So yeah, great pick, man. That was fucking fun.
Cool. Nice. Tony Scott, he did it again.
I know. Done it again, you know. Yeah, like you said earlier, though, I think like compared to his other movies, like this is
this is probably like lesser tier.
Yeah, it's not as good, but like for entertainment value, it's definitely just as good, if not better. It just depends on what you're looking for.
Yep, totally agree.
This is his like The Room.
Yeah. Which, did you hear about that nerd news?
What was it?
There's some nerd news this week. Bringing it back.
It
was Bob Odenkirk made a shot-for-shot remake of The Room.
Oh yes, okay, I saw that. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was hilarious.
All right, so what's next?
So next week,
Mike Week.
It's gonna be kind of on the same vein as like this week with like, I guess we'll see if this is any good or not. But I think it's something that at the time maybe wasn't as well received, and we'll see how this goes. But we could get some good notes out of it, hopefully. We've got ourselves the only like I think big Hollywood venture of Joe Piscopo, from what I remember, Dead Heat.
Dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then for weird watches, we're going to watch the like mystery horror zombie kind of show that I've kind of been wanting to watch for a while that's set in like, I think it's either feudal China or Japan, called The Kingdom.
Okay.
That's like, so it's going to be like zombie/resurrection week next week, so.
Cool.
Because I know in Dead Heat, it's like one of the dudes gets resurrected after he's killed to become a zombie cop.
What's it called?
Kingdom. Yeah, and then the other one is, like the Kingdom.
All right.
So, hopefully they're both. Well, the only one that I'm really expecting to have a lot of notes about is Dead Heat. I think Kingdom might be a little bit more serious, but like Dead Heat's gonna be like. I also have that one on.
I've never seen that.
Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, I know you got that Blu-ray, and I've been curious to see
how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had it on the list for a while, and I couldn't find anything else like Joe Piscopo TV related. Like, I know he was on SNL forever, but I didn't want to be like, let's do an SNL episode like randomly. Like, we've already watched SNL, so yeah. I guess we could have watched How Sweet It Is, but I really don't want to watch that.
Or Sidekicks.
Have you heard about that?
No.
How Sweet It Is. I'm sure we can talk about it next week, I guess. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I'm trying to think like
cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm like, well, oh, I just got a call. I got to go to work. Sorry, I got to leave you here at the stadium, Matt.
No.
Sorry.
How dare you?
I'm like, don't call my wife.
Bye.
Another podcast in the books. The best part is, Matt doesn't suspect a thing. He doesn't know that I don't give a shit about the podcast. In fact, I don't care. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Hello?
Hey, Mike.
Matt? What do you want, man? What do you want? Hey.
Now do you care?
I care.